So this movie starts in the Arctic Circle. Suddenly, this giant magnet appears and just takes everything, not just things that are metal, everything except the people. And it skips to an agent telling one of his other agents to bring him in, and of course they have to be referring to Gru. It skips to someone's party, one of the girls, one of Gru's, at this point, daughters, adopted. If you saw the first movie, you know that. And this movie went way too fast, especially in the beginning, because that girl agent appears already. We're talking like 2 minutes into the movie. Now, this is the moment you've seen on the teaser or the theatrical trailers. This is the lady who uses the lipstick taser, who Gru at first tries to freeze and fails. And as the previous show, the minions give chase, but she captures both of them too. And he is now put before the Anti-Villain League, and they say they want him to help save the world now that he's not a villain anymore, but he knows how a villain thinks. What I do want to say before I go any further, though, is that the 3D was rather disappointing for this movie. So if your 3D one is packed and there's 2D, you don't have to see the 3D version of this film. There were okay 3D moments, but you care about the review as far as the plot goes anyway. It is a very funny movie. I will give it that, even though I'm rating it a 6 out of 11. Because funny doesn't always make it a good movie. Anyway, at first Gru turns down saving the world. But that night, Gru flashes back to his first ever love. Who knew he had one of those? Who shoots him down. I mean, this movie is very predictable. Obviously, he's going to fall in love with the agent lady he'll be working with. After discovering Avery has a boyfriend now, we see Gru's lab. He started in an honest job, and his lab is now a jelly business. But the movie gives the plot away right here. I won't tell you what happens. I'll go back to that when I get into the spoilers. The magnet thing returns, and the scenario ends with one minion being kidnapped. As the earliest preview showed, I thought that was just a promotion for the movie, but it actually happens in this movie. And now Gru changes his mind, so suddenly the comedy continues the next day at his new muffin shop. With them is that girl agent, Lucy, as a partner. Spoiler time. First, let's go back to that one thing that I didn't mention. Dr. Nefario still wants to be evil, so he decides to leave Gru. And why that's a giveaway? I just knew he was going to be involved in whatever evil there was here. Does he come back or not? I'll give you that answer now. Yes, he does. Something tells me this guy that comes in the shop is a bad guy. He just seems the type. He's supposed to be this bad guy that's supposedly dead called El Macho. Another giveaway in the movie. I knew he was our bad guy. What they decided to do is break into El Macho's restaurant there. His name right now is Eduardo. Now, like the teaser trailers, 2 more minions are captured by a UFO. And I'm starting to wonder, what is this going to have to do with anything? Why? Why are they capturing so many minions? But the comedy continues on their first mission, as I said, into the restaurant. In the action sequence to follow, so that's 2 action sequences so far, the 3D does seem to improve on this action sequence. The next scene had an ice cream truck that kidnapped a whole slew of minions. And I was like, okay, clearly, minions have something to do with this movie. No wonder they've been playing the minions up so much in the previews. They're gonna play some part in this movie. And it's revealed at the mall they're on their 8th guy, Eduardo having been their first. And they don't know it yet, except possibly Gru, that he was the one. Lucy meets the girls, Gru's daughters, with Meredith, betting that they will get married. Meredith is the youngest one, if I am correct. Meanwhile, Margot finds a boy. Let's see here. This turns into a date at the Mexican restaurant. The 3D does continue to improve, and Gru is sure again that Eduardo is El Macho. Now, throughout this whole film, Gru's neighbors have been trying to put Gru on a date, trying to get him a woman. Gru finally gets a date, but not with Lucy, but with a neighbor's friend. The date fails miserably, and Lucy steps in. Whether they know it, they're connected. That's what do you expect from a movie like this? That's exactly what happens. The next morning, Gru is happy, very happy, like you've never seen Gru this happy. It all ends when he's informed that Agent Lucy is being sent to Australia. Because supposedly the guy was caught. But this can't be it. I know it can't. Sure enough, the owner of the shop is shown to be innocent. Now, we're in an extreme mature moment for a movie like this that you wouldn't expect to see. I cite an example of Hotel Transylvania. You know, it's this wicked fun movie. Everything's funny. You're laughing out loud. You're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, there's this moment in Hotel Transylvania where everything gets serious. The two main characters are together alone and learning like the background. I won't go too far in case you haven't seen Hotel Transylvania, because if you haven't seen Hotel Transylvania, you have to. There's this very seriousness to the movie before, and from that point on, the movie has changed, and that's exactly what happened right here. So we're all set now as far as the movie's plot is going. I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. I just don't know what this deal with the Minions is. So what is? Well, it reveals all these minions on a Jamaican island in a so-called paradise. However, the camera pans out to reveal that they're actually in... If you've seen the Truman Show, you know what I'm talking about. They're actually in like an aquarium type thing. Anyway, two minions are taken out and are tested, and they transform into these hairy purple creatures. So that's probably what they're planning to do with them all. And these creatures pretty much have no allegiance to... They have new allegiance, I should say, to the people who created them, so they're going to forget about Gru. Meanwhile, Gru is accompanying Margot to the Cinco de Mayo party at Eduardo's house. Eduardo comes over and practically admits to being El Macho. Gru sneaks in. Meanwhile, Lucy jumps out of the plane realizing she's made a giant mistake, and she is in love with him. So it is El Macho. We figure that out for a fact now. I've known it the whole movie practically. And Dr. Nefario is indeed helping him. He reveals the plan. El Macho reveals the plan that he is changing the minions into creatures. So now we can start our third action sequences. The chase after the bad guy. Before they leave, Gru freezes Margot's BF upon finding out that he's dancing with another girl. And it's actually Margot that tells him that. Nefario contacts Gru, and this is where he comes back, to tell him that Lucy was captured and that he's not really liking this anymore. He wants to come back to Gru, and so he tells Gru what to do. The minions are very creepy in their purple, hairy state. They're not, and the way they act more They're not the minions, if that's what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, they get attacked by minions, for example. The minion who was known as Kevin is transferred back with the help of Nefario. So now they have an antidote for this to change the minions back into minions instead of creatures. Gru tries to act the part of being captured, but when one minion wipes off the purple paint, they're exposed. I'm still laughing. There are a couple. I'll give this movie one thing. I rated that. I rated it low because it didn't have a good plot and the whole feel wasn't good, but it was funny. This whole scene is ended when Nefario shows up with a jelly antidote, like made in the jelly factory that Gru has going. It becomes a battle, Gru versus El Macho, after he cures the rest of the minions, that is, and he reveals Lucy to be strapped to a rocket, and that he plans to, well, of course, kill her. Surprise, El Macho takes the very same transformation serum that the minions were given, and he transforms into a giant purple-haired beast. And I was like, okay, now we've got a battle here. But all it took to take him down, and this was disappointing, was one lipstick tase, like the one seen in the previews, but done by Gru. Because when Lucy left, she left her lipstick taser to Gru as something for him to remember her by. Anyway, the chicken from earlier. Yet another funny thing in the movie. If you see the movie, you'll understand where this chicken comes from and why he can actually be a important, well, not important, but unimportant part until one single moment. Anyway, he lays an egg that starts the rocket, basically. But the rocket misfires, and we fade into the next scene. The minions are incoherently singing I Swear. I recognize it because I love that song. And Gru marries Lucy. Meredith finally gets to say her bit about mothers, something also from earlier in the film. And one last number by the Minions, they do the YMCA. So anyway, a couple of reasons why I did get, other than it was really funny, but a couple of reasons why I'm giving this a 6. It was abrupt, very fast. There were quick changes that was too fast, a little, and not detailed enough. I understand that minions are one of the big things, but I still believe they were used too much. It wasn't until they were actually transformed into beasts that they actually had any use in the movie. I mean, there is comic relief to me, that's all. Miranda Cosgrove is one of the top villain in this movie, but her character is barely used. The girls are barely used in general. Steve voice acting is mediocre, you know. I love Steve Carell, but the voice acting wasn't too great. Let's see, funny at times. Plot needed work. They didn't transform the movie. Hand me this movie over the first, but it's not one I'd really watch again. And I mean, if it's on HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, whatever, Stars, I'll watch it there. But that's why this movie's getting a 6. Let me add that this is from a from a critical person's point of view. As far as a kid goes, he's gonna have a really good time with this movie. So if you're thinking of taking your kids to see this movie, totally for them. Totally.